Hello, it's Jamie Dennis again. This is the second part of my video. In this video, I would like to talk about the technology that I used in school and some of the other techniques that I used and still use today. First off, just to give you a little bit of a insight into how I see. Again, I have retinitis pigmentosa, which means I have severe tunnel vision. So, for example, when I was younger and I could see better, it was like looking through a toilet paper roll, where today it is less than looking through a straw. So that's a very basic explanation of how I see. And usually the first symptom, as I mentioned in my first video, is night blindness. And so anyway, moving on. The first adaptation that I needed in school, of course, was large print. And that helped until around 7th and 8th grade. I would also use magnification devices, magnifying glasses of varying degrees, getting bigger and bulkier as I got older and my vision got worse. I started to learn how to type when I was in 3rd grade. Which is very important since the only thing I can handwrite now really is my signature. I type everything else. And so this is a touchy issue. Learning Braille. I cannot stress enough how important it is to learn Braille. I fortunately was told by my eye doctors, we don't know how fast your vision could go. You could stay stable for a while and it never change, or you could lose all your sight by morning. A lot of doctors will tell patients that, they'll try to give them the happy answer. Oh, you're not going to lose any more vision, or this, that, or the other, which with some eye conditions that may be true. But if there's any danger whatsoever, we just need to be honest with ourselves and accept that fact that, we could lose all of our sight. We need to be ready for that. And one of the best ways to be ready for that is to learn Braille. Yes, it is more or less learning a second language, but it is so important. Large print is good, but I got to the point, especially in high school, where my eyes would just get weak and hurt. And the facts are that the more you strain your eyes, the worse your sight is going to get. So you need to stop straining the vision and become an auditory learner. And Braille is very key in that. Another thing that I started using in 8th grade, since math is such a visual topic, you have to see so much of it, especially with geometry and shapes and things. When I could still see large print, but I got to the point where I could not see the marker board or the chalkboard, in 8th grade, my collaboration teacher, Judy Tilford, would get a small whiteboard and put on my desk in front of me. So as my math teacher, Pam Armstrong, was working problems on the big board that I could not see, Miss Tilford would write them out right in front of me. And if she couldn't be there, another student would do that for me or something to that effect. And since I was to the point where I could not see well enough to write small, I would also work my math problems on the board, and then my teachers or whoever would transcribe it onto a paper. And I did that through college as well, when I still was able to do that. Another thing I used was the CCTV, which comes in so many varieties and forms today, but more or less all it is putting a text under a TV with the capability that it can see that text and put it on a screen. So I used that for a while. And then something that I use today is called ZoomX, which is a scanner that takes a picture of a page, and whatever written text is on that page, it will send it to my laptop, and my computer has the software that translates everything into speech. So I can literally pick up a book, scan it in, and in a few seconds after scanning each page, I can listen to whatever is on that page immediately, or I can scan in a whole book, and then after I've scanned it, it will read to me page by page. And that is absolutely wonderful, since it is hard to find audiobooks sometimes, and the like. So again, computers are necessary. Learning the computer is key. There's programs like JAWS that are screen readers. There's ZoomText, which is a screen enlarger. So, whatever the mouse is on, it will show that and make it huge. I used that. I use mostly screen reading software today. The iPhone, any Apple software, whatever that may be, iPhone, iPad, whatever, has a voiceover function. So whatever you touch on the screen, it reads. That's actually how I'm making this video, is with my iPhone. And it's easy to use. I do all of my email on it now, and all of that makes life much easier. Something that wasn't easy, however, was physical education, PE. I know there's an adaptive PE class that will be watching this video, so pay attention. First off, I will say, doing ball games with a visually impaired or blind person is not very smart. Even though I had some vision when I was younger, soccer, basketball, those kind of things were just difficult and awkward. So I don't advise doing that. Not a lot of contact sports. The only thing I would say that a blind person could do very successfully is wrestling when it comes to contact sports and things like that. Dodgeball, maybe, as long as the balls are soft. Of course, running is good. Depending on how much vision loss there is, bowling, I can still bowl. Can do darts. Of course, it depends on how much light there is. I have to have a lot of light. My contrast is very bad. I can barely see indoors unless I have bright light. I can see better in the sunlight. And for example, when it comes to contrast, you put the color green and blue beside each other, I cannot tell them apart. They look the same. So when I'm able to see my computer screen, I always would have white letters with black background. It was easier for me to see that way. And so anyway, I can also in PE do darts if there's enough light. Something else that was fun that I did once was rock wall climbing. There's some places that will set up a rock wall with varying degrees of difficulty. That was fun because it's mainly done by feel. I can do martial arts. I don't do contact martial arts, I guess you could say. That would not be very smart. I can do t-ball. As long as the ball is on the tee, I can handle that. So in a way, it's kind of limited what I can do in PE, but ultimately be creative. Don't just, if you're a teacher in PE, don't just have, if you have a blind student or visually impaired student, don't just have them sit out. There's no reason for that to happen at all. We should be participating just like anybody else. Utilize the other body parts. The only one that doesn't work is our eyes. We just can't see. We have a right to participate physically just like anybody else. So pretty much that is it. I will say that, when it comes to public schools, by law, they have to provide access to this technology. It is expensive. For example, my scanner that I was telling you about, I believe cost over $3,000. Luckily, the state, the Department for the Blind, helped pay for that. But county school systems should cough up the money. They'll try to say there's no money, but there is. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a sports program. And if it means sacrificing some of those sports dollars so that a child can have education in their home school, so be it, in their county school. Sending students to the school for the blind, to me, my personal opinion, is segregation. There's no point in that at all. We just need a little help in school is all. And the schools should provide. I think the time for having the school for the blind is a thing of the past. And all kids, no matter what disability, should be mainstreamed. And because ultimately, I would not be able to be in the sighted world if it wasn't for being in the public school system. Being in the school for the blind, how is a person supposed to be able to deal with sighted people? I mean, if you're just around other blind people, which I hated being at the school for the blind for part of that reason, because a lot of the blind kids were bitter and hateful, and I was used to being positive for the most part, and it just drove me up the walls. So, ultimately, patience. We need, as a visually impaired or blind person, we need to have patience with ourselves, with others, and we should try to have independence, but also realize that we need to rely on others for some things. It's a hard balance to find. But again, patience, it's a big thing. It's a big plus. And as I mentioned in the other video, if you're a teacher, a parent, a friend, whoever, don't assume that you know how your blind or visually impaired friend or family member or student, you should not assume how they see. Nobody knows that except for me. Not even other people that have my eye condition will fully understand how I see, because they are not me. Saying I know how you feel and things like that, those are empty words. There's so many experiences that are not common. For example, I lost my vision early on, so I never had to worry about having my driver's license taken away from me. I know other blind people that have. They lost their vision after they were driving, and I don't know what that's like to have that taken away from me and to have that pain. I've had time to adapt where that wasn't an issue. So, we need to have the understanding to not always understand. And so I hope this helps, and God bless you all.
Stop recording.